Hello my loves, and welcome back to my channel. So as you probably saw by the title, you're wondering like what the hell going on here. So before I get started, if you've never been here before, my name is AJ aka GlitterMeGlamm, and welcome to my channel. For those who have been here before, hopefully you notice a difference with my video, and if you know what the difference is, make sure to put your guess down below in the comments, and also say what's up to sis in the back. She look a little tired, you know. So anyway, in today's video we're going to be doing makeup with a twist. Okay, so pretty much a few weeks ago I did a tutorial on Snapchat, and normally I play music in the background, you know, it's like filler noise while I do my makeup. So this particular time I didn't want to listen to music. I was in the mood to watch a show, because normally when I do my makeup for like going places or something like that, I always like put a show on YouTube or something, Netflix, wherever, and do my makeup. Like, it's so therapeutic to me. I have to do this. So anyway, I was watching this kind of like new channel that I found on YouTube. Actually, it was in my suggested feed, and it's similar to like Snapped, but you know, it's just like another version of it. So anyway, I wanted to like listen to it like while it's playing, because obviously if I'm doing my makeup I'm not gonna be watching it, but I'll be listening, so it's like a good audible, you know, like a juicy audible. So that was playing in the background, and I was getting hundreds of messages on Snapchat talking about my makeup, and then also telling me like how good the show was. It sounded like it was that I was watching, and then I was kind of like keeping them all like involved with the show, like, y'all need to see this, like, look at this girl, she ain't even that cute, causing all this drama. So it was a real good time. So I thought I would bring it here to YouTube and see if y'all liked it as well, because I really don't do my makeup at all on YouTube anymore, and I would like to get back into that. So maybe this might be like a little entryway into that again, I don't know. So anyway, that's where the title came from. It was just literally a line out of this episode, or one of the episodes that y'all might hear. So pretty much what I'm gonna do is, if my makeup is done before the episode finishes, I'll make sure to link the episode so that if y'all want to watch it from the beginning without interruptions, you can do that, and you can also finish out the story as well. And if you would like me to continue, then, you know, let me know down in the comments as well. You know, just like I said, a different concept. So anyways, I know I have talked way more than you probably would have liked, but I just had to explain. So now we're gonna get started with the makeup. Let me go ahead and pick the episode.
Someone knows the truth.
She was only 15. She never even had the chance to live.
He had an incredible secret and an incredible burden.
I have information on the open murder case.
If that young man had not entered the police station that day, we would still not know who killed Jasmine Moore.
August 9th, 2009, Alma, Georgia. It's Sunday morning in this tiny rural town, 3.5 hours south of Atlanta.
I'm using COVERGIRL trublend concealer to base my eyes.
Definitely a very close-knit community, very quiet. It's somewhere that you feel very at home.
Most folks are already on their way to Sunday service when Pamela Moore walks up to her front door.
Pamela worked the night shift at a local factory and had just made it home.
Jasmine?
She was very active in church. Our community is very church-oriented.
You what?
She unlocks the door, calling out to her 15-year-old daughter.
Jasmine? You ready for church?
But Pamela is met by a startling scene.
There was smoke coming from the hallway.
Jasmine?
It seemed to be coming from the back of the house.
In a panic,
Jasmine!
Pamela runs towards Jasmine's room.
Jasmine!
In the hallway, Pamela finds her daughter, unresponsive and covered in blood and char.
I couldn't imagine finding my child like she found her child.
In the summer of 2009, Jasmine Moore was looking forward to her sophomore year at Bacon County High School.
How many kids are excited about going back to school from summer break? But she was excited to go back to school.
Sorry guys.
She was very popular. She was in the band, and everybody liked her because she had such an outgoing personality. party.
She lived down the road from me and we rode the same school bus. And that's how we first got to know each other. Jasmine was somebody who always had a smile on her face. She loved to laugh. She was a jokester. She was just somebody that would make you want to laugh with her.
Text me, okay? Yeah, I will. All right, bye.
Most of the colors we're going to use are from
When
the
it
Zulu
came to her
palette.
studies, though, Jasmine had a serious side.
Jasmine was very smart. She was on the road and stuff.
This.
She was involved in a lot of clubs and extracurricular activities.
Jasmine was so ambitious. She has so many dreams. She actually wanted to join the military.
She always told me she wanted to be like a big brother, to go into the army. But I told her she can do, that's what she wanted to do. She should do that because she was a small person, but she had a big heart.
At just 15 years old, Jasmine's big heart was already falling hard for her classmate, 17-year-old Dion Smith.
Hey, Jasmine.
Ooh, cute.
Hi, Dion. Jasmine and Dion Smith met at school. He was a really popular guy, and this is what drawn Jasmine to him.
Hey, can I take you to class?
Yeah.
Thank you. He was very charismatic, you know, like if you were his age or around his age, you'd want to hang out with him.
But Jasmine wanted much more.
She wanted to be his girlfriend. She wanted something a little more serious.
Dion was the guy that Jasmine dreamed of, her fantasy boyfriend.
Jasmine's fantasy became a reality when she and Dion began seeing each other.
Hi. Jasmine and Dion did end up seeing one another several times over the summer.
How are you?
Good, you look amazing.
Thank you.
It was one of those summer romance relationships. Dion was the older, popular guy,
You ready to go?
Yes.
Come on.
and Jasmine was really into him.
To Jasmine, Dion was the guy of her dreams. But Dion had a reputation amongst their classmates.
He was kind of a ladies' man.
He was still trying to be what most 17-year-old boys are. A playboy and trying to talk to multiple girls at the same time.
Yet Jasmine was convinced that Dion would realize she was all he needed.
She was ready for church bells and living together forever, which at 15 most girls are. Every guy they see, oh, I'm going to get married to him.
Jasmine loved the idea of her summer fling with Dion carrying into her sophomore year.
This was going to be her year, her time to shine with this new guy, this perfect guy.
But that Sunday morning,
Jasmine,
the day before classes are set to begin,
you ready for church?
Jasmine's mother comes home from work to a horrifying discovery.
Jasmine.
It's so shocking for Mom. She was devastated.
After finding Jasmine's body on the floor, Pamela calls out for help.
Somebody, help me!
Minutes later, police and firefighters arrive on the scene. But it only takes a moment for first responders to realize that this crime is unlike anything this small town has seen.
Inside the house, first responders find Jasmine's mother on the floor, cradling her daughter.
I can't even begin to imagine what it was like for Jasmine's mother. That was her only child.
She was severely burnt all over her body. The only thing that was recognizable on her was her face.
Blood on the walls tells police this was clearly a homicide.
As horrific as her burns are, it's obvious to first responders that the fire is not what killed her.
You could tell there was a struggle.
No one should have to die that way, especially someone that's sweet like that, don't do anything. She didn't do drugs, she didn't do any kind of stuff like that, you know, just, there's no reason for it.
A 15-year-old girl, very well liked. Why would someone brutally murder her?
beginning of August 2009, 15-year-old Jasmine Moore was counting down the days, looking forward to the start of school.
Jasmine is actually finishing up her summer and getting ready to go start the new sophomore school year.
She was very excited for the first day of school. She liked to socialize. She's a social butterfly.
But she was more excited by her blossoming romance with 17-year-old Dion Smith, who was entering his senior year of high school.
She was falling for him hard. She had a lot of future plans laid out, and he was the one for her.
They were hooking up, but she actually wanted something more.
However, on the Sunday before the start of the new school year, the small town of Alma is rocked by tragic news. Jasmine Moore's mother has arrived home from work to find Jasmine lying dead outside her bedroom door.
There's a lot of blood on the walls, and her body was badly charred.
As first responders arrive, they're shocked by the level of violence rarely seen in their quaint community. There's no doubt that Jasmine has been murdered.
It was the first crime scene like that I had been to. One that was so horrendous, so violent.
Now I'm just using a lighter shade from the same company, COVERGIRL, and I want to cut my
The condition
crease.
of the body makes it difficult for officers at the scene to determine the exact cause of death.
She was severely burnt all over her body. She had
Sorry about the Wi-Fi, you
injuries
guys.
to the back of her head.
The blood on the walls and floor allows police to follow the trail of the brutal attack.
It looked like the attack started in the bedroom, but it ended in the hallway.
Then the killer had apparently set Jasmine's body on fire. A missing smoke detector explains why no neighbors reported a fire alarm. It also proves someone intentionally tried to destroy evidence.
It was mainly in the hallway. It wasn't a very extensive fire. It went out pretty quickly.
After burning Jasmine's clothes, the flames sputtered out without burning the rest of the house.
Investigators hope that some forensic evidence survived the flames.
Since there was a struggle, there could still be traces of the killer's DNA under Jasmine's fingernails.
However, Alma's police force does not have their own forensic lab and must send samples to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Hey, can you go ahead and get GB on the phone?
Yeah.
We're gonna need him.
They have a whole lot more resources than we have, so they can get a lot more done quicker.
Even without a detailed forensic analysis, the crime scene does yield some crucial information.
The house didn't look broken into. There was no forced entry, so it had to be somebody she knew and let in the house.
There was no evidence of a robbery either. The only thing missing was Jasmine's phone.
First responders were sure that this was not a random attack. It was definitely something personal.
Who could have done this to such a well-liked young woman? While waiting for the GBI forensics experts to arrive, investigators turn to Jasmine's mother for help to generate leads.
It's very hard because you want to comfort them, but at the same time you've got to do your job and console her while trying to figure out what was going on.
We'll find out who did this, but we're gonna need your help. I'll try.
Through her grief, Jasmine's mother tries her best to answer questions.
Jasmine's mother told police that when she left for work at around 11 p.m., her daughter was home alone, getting ready for bed.
Did she ever have any friends over? No, not while I was at work.
The rules was that she was not to have anybody over after her mom left for work.
When asked if Jasmine had a boyfriend, her mother says she's unaware of anyone in particular in Jasmine's life. She's also adamant Jasmine would not have let people into their home when she wasn't there.
You're sure no one was coming over? Jasmine wouldn't do that.
Jasmine's mother tells police that Jasmine was not a troubled teen and would regularly check in with her when home alone.
They always communicated. She always called her mom, talked to her mom, so they had a pretty good relationship.
That's when Jasmine's mother reveals some tension between Jasmine and her boyfriend, a man named Henry Wilton.
Jasmine's parents had split up when she was young. Her dad remarried, and her mom had began dating a guy named Henry Wilton a while back.
According to Jasmine's mom, her daughter and her boyfriend didn't get along, mainly because Jasmine did not like all the time Henry spent at their home.
Jasmine's mom tells police she has occasionally give keys to her boyfriend.
Would anyone have a reason to hurt Jasmine?
No. Nobody want to hurt my baby.
She didn't have any enemies. She was well liked. Everybody loved her in the community.
Anyone else been over here recently?
Just Ron from next door.
All right, let's go ahead.
Ron was the neighbor who called 911 for Jasmine's mother. She told police they had gotten to be pretty good friends.
He was the closest neighbor due to the location. He was over there a lot, and he was just always around.
And if he'd been around when the murder occurred, he could be an important witness.
Now I'm using the Jlarue Gothic Gold.
Naturally, police are going to go talk to him. They want to know, what does he know?
Mr. Stanley? Mr. Stanley?
Yes.
Mind if I ask you a few questions about last night?
I suppose.
We were just doing a quick little, hey, did you see anybody go in the house? Did you see anybody around the house? Did you hear anybody screaming? Did you hear an argument? Did you smell smoke? Did you see any flames? He was standoffish, didn't really want to talk.
Investigators are soon asking a different question.
What happened to your eye there?
He had a black eye, scratches on him.
The crime scene had clear evidence of a struggle.
Could Ron's injuries be connected to Jasmine's horrific murder?
So much pointed towards him.
He's really looking like a suspect.
Officers investigating 15-year-old Jasmine Moore have just uncovered what could be their first possible suspect, the victim's next-door neighbor, Ron Stanley.
When police interviewed Ron Stanley, he had a black eye, scratches on him.
Was it possible that Ron's injuries were the result of a fight with Jasmine that turned deadly?
It looked like she struggled at the crime scene, so it just makes him look suspicious.
Ron's injuries aren't the only thing investigators find suspicious.
He was standoffish, didn't really want to talk, didn't want to tell us where he was at, what he was doing that night.
It's only when police asked point blank about the injuries to his arms and face that Ron offered an explanation.
What happened to your eye?
I got in a bar fight.
The only thing that he did tell police is that he was out at the club till about 3 a.m. He came home and went to sleep.
Yeah, you got in a bar fight with. Did you know him? Duke. That's what they call him.
You know his last name?
Nah. Have you been next door to the Morris house sitting down? Nah, I've never been over there.
Never?
No.
But her mom had just said that he's been over there before. And that was a big red flag for police.
He's been in the house multiple times. So he's going to have fingerprints there. He's going to have evidence that he's been in that house. So why can't you tell us that your friends that you go over all the time hang out?
Now investigators believe Ron is hiding something. Police ask Ron for his fingerprints and a DNA sample.
He was a primary suspect, and we all thought that he done it. So much pointed towards him.
Despite the fire, detectives were hoping to find some trace of the killer's DNA under Jasmine's fingernails. They also needed to follow up on his alibi.
But for the moment, detectives didn't have enough for an arrest.
After police leave Ron, they learn that news of Jasmine's murder has already spread through town.
We were sitting in church and the pastor made an announcement. He started saying, just this morning, we got the news of a girl, Jasmine Moore, found dead in her home. And I just looked at my mom in shock.
There was nothing there that signaled that she should be a victim of crime like this.
As fear and sadness grip Alma, Investigators drop in on the club where Jasmine Moore's neighbor Ron Stanley claimed to have been the night before.
Is he telling the truth? Was he really at the club?
Detectives were sure that Ron's alibi was about to come crashing down.
Investigators are discouraged by what they learned.
Stanley was cleared due to witnesses being able to place that he was at the club, got into a fight at the club with the guy that he says he got into a fight with.
With Ron Stanley rolled out, investigators hope Jasmine's fellow students can give some insight into who might have wanted to hurt her.
So I'm taking that brown shade again,
Our graduating
and then
class
I'm
is
going
less
to
than
pack
100
that in the crease
students.
using a brush like
Everybody knows
this.
everybody.
On Monday morning, when investigators arrive, they find students and teachers alike struggling to process the awful news.
Usually the first day of school, students get very excited. You're getting to see all your friends you haven't seen in a while, but it definitely had an air that something was different, something wasn't right.
Officer McElroy and an agent from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation tackle the difficult task of interviewing the students who knew Jasmine best.
Hey, Amber, can we ask you a few questions?
Yeah. I was interviewed to see if I knew anything that could connect somebody to what happened.
We understand that Jasmine was having some issues with her mom's boyfriend.
They butted heads, but she never really said anything about him being violent.
Do you think there's anyone else that could have done it?
I'm sorry, I really can't.
Unfortunately, I didn't know anything that would help. She was kind of private about her personal life.
That's all we had to ask, okay?
Jasmine's mom had mentioned that her daughter and Henry didn't get along, so police figured they needed to focus in on Henry.
With no other leads, investigators ask Henry Wilton to come in for an interview.
So we hear that you and Jasmine don't get along.
Well, she talked back. You know how teenagers are.
Henry's story lined up more or less with what detectives heard from Jasmine's mom.
But then, Henry says something that makes investigators do a double take.
You two ever been alone in the house?
Oh, yeah. But I never did anything to her. Like sexual.
That was a huge red flag for detectives. Why would he even suggest this?
Where were you Saturday night?
Well, Pam went to work, so I went to a party at a friend's house.
Did you go anywhere afterward?
No.
And you can back that up?
No. I was by myself.
With no witnesses to verify he was home the rest of the night, investigators had no way to determine if he was telling the truth. So all they could do was speculate.
After the interview, investigators take a sample of Henry's DNA. With nothing else to prove his involvement, investigators release Henry and move quickly to check his alibi.
Yes.
The next move was to find out if Henry was in the vicinity the night that Jasmine was killed. So they pulled his phone records.
What they find would support Henry's claims of innocence.
His phone records backed up his story, so at that point, detectives didn't have any evidence to suggest that he was involved.
Now I'm taking the orange shade and I'm just blending this
With
out.
Henry now an unlikely suspect, investigators turn their attention to Jasmine's cell phone records.
We started looking for who does she call, who's she texting, who does she text the most. Those are going to be the people that you go to and start questioning.
They discovered that she's been texting several people the night of her death.
But there's one number she texted far more than any of the others.
She was texting Dion Smith.
He was one of the last people to have contact with Jasmine before all activity on her phone stopped.
But was that just a coincidence, or could that have had something to do with Jasmine's death?
Georgia investigators working the murder case of 15-year-old Jasmine Moore had just discovered that on the night of her death, the teenager had been texting with 17-year-old Dion Smith.
Police discovered in the phone records that when her mom went to work at 11, she had started texting Dion like crazy.
There was a lot of activity between 11:45 on her phone records between her and Dion.
So now I'm going to take that light
After
colored
11:45
concealer
on Saturday night,
and cut the crease.
Jasmine never sent another text.
Obviously, Dion was someone detectives needed to talk to.
Hello.
It's late Monday evening when investigators ask Dion down to the station to answer a few questions.
Thank you for coming to talk to us.
Hey, Dion. No problem. I can't believe that happened to Jasmine. How well do you know Jasmine? We hung out over the summer.
He presented himself as cool, calm, and collected. He said they were friends to a certain extent, maybe a little bit more.
Did you have a sexual relationship with Jasmine?
Yeah.
Did you see Jasmine on Saturday night?
No. You guys talked? We texted.
When they asked about the text messages, he said, yeah, Jasmine wanted me to come over, but I didn't.
Dion claimed he didn't want to get Jasmine in trouble.
And that was the rule. No boy should be over while mom was at work.
Where were you on Saturday night?
Dion tells investigators he was hanging out with his friend, Ty Murchison. Then the two walked to a nearby diner.
So if we talk to Ty, he's gonna be able to back you up. Yeah, for sure. You sure about that? Positive.
Okay. We're gonna do a DNA swab on you.
Okay.
Okay.
Dion seemed more than willing to cooperate with the investigation.
Okay, open your mouth.
He willingly gave his DNA.
After investigators take Dion's fingerprints, the interview is over. The next morning, investigators bring Dion's friend, Ty Murchison, in for questioning.
You're a couple years ahead of Jasmine Moore, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a senior. Same as Dion.
So, what'd you guys do on Saturday night?
We were over at Dion's playing video games.
He says the same thing that Dion said. They didn't go see Jasmine. They were hanging out with each other. He said they left around 11 and walked to an all-night diner.
According to Ty, he and Dion were already on their way to the diner when Dion got Jasmine's first text.
Jasmine kept texting him, trying to get him to come over.
But Dion didn't go?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because Dion didn't want to.
Sounds like she was pretty into Dion, though.
Yeah, she was, but she's 15. Me and Dion, we're going to graduate this year.
Ty says that Dion had messed around with Jasmine over the summer, but now that school was starting and he was a senior, he wasn't ready for a serious relationship.
When did you go home?
Sunday morning, I spent the night on Dion's couch.
Ty's statement doesn't give investigators any grounds to hold him.
So now I'm going in with the first brown shade.
But they're not ready to clear him either.
Ty could be lying to protect his friend.